my son was an entertainer, and
this is Jason.
Jason, yeah, and I used to run him around the country doing gigs and that, and I was always concerned about the security and the problems that there are with that, and and he asked me one time if I would lend him a bit of money to open this pub in the Mile End Road. He had already had a bit of experience of running a pub with another guy, and so I went to look at it, and it looked okay, and Bass were okay with it, all the brewers, and so we decided to take it on.
Right.
And
what had you been doing at that time?
I was retired. I had been running him around just for gigs mostly. In fact, I did 35,000 miles in 15 months, all around the country with him.
You were his road manager?
Yeah.
Not his roadie?
Not his roadie, no. But it was fraught with a few problems at times, as you can imagine, with all the distances to travel and me having my sleep problem and that, and I could never really watch his shows too much, because at that time he was in drag, and I didn't.
I found that difficult.
I'd set his stuff up and then get out, and then I'd go and get lost in whatever town I was in for about 3 or 4 hours. Often got picked up by the police. Well, not often, but when I'd be sat in the car maybe for 3 hours, you do look a bit suspicious. Yeah. And so they would come and question me, but it always worked out all right.
So were they difficult times between the two of you?
Yes, they were. They were. With it was. I was stressed because of the lack of sleep and just driving and having to lose myself for 3 or 4 hours while his show was on. And this would go on, as I said, 35,000 miles in 15 months. So it's a lot of gigs all around the country, all over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me, you take on this pub.
Yeah.
And that didn't go so well in the end.
Well, in the end it didn't, but at the beginning Jason had some great ideas, and he was full of good ideas like that, and they were. And we turned it into a gay pub. It had been shut down, and Bass were very pleased that the father and son were taking it over. They kind of seemed to like the look of us too, and they put new cellar equipment in and everything like that, did everything they could to help us, and they were pleased that it was being turned into a gay pub because they made a lot more money. Yeah. And so.
Were you okay with that?
Well, yeah, it was really, it was turned into a cabaret bar, and that's really what Jason wanted. Yeah. Like, that's what he did. Yeah. And he was going to be part of the cabaret act in there, and also we would book other cabaret acts as well.
So you left with the hard work behind the bar and cleaning the pipes and all that kind of
thing? Well, yeah, but for the first 6 months I lived in the place, because it took us 6 months to get the whole thing up and running. And that was in 1995, mid-1995. And we sort of got it up and running by about September, October of that year.
Okay. Now, at that time, Jason is your only child?
He is my only natural child. I have a stepdaughter, little Anne, who
she's been your daughter forever, hasn't she?
Yes, I love her dearly. She's my daughter, yeah. Yeah.
So she had no involvement in the pub?
No. No. I kept his mum well abreast of the whole situation, and said that we trusted Jason to sort of get it right. He knew the business, the cabaret scene, and he was booking the acts and the things that were, and he knew all about that part of it. And I was learning about the pub side of it, cleaning the lines and the cellar and keeping the place tidy, and
it's hard slog.
It is a hard slog, but what neither of us knew really was the financial side, the actual running of a pub, and we just got hold of somebody somebody came in one time and impressed me, and they'd been running some sort of similar setup, and they said they'd be interested in helping out, and so I made this Kim manageress, and to run it for us. It was full. The place was a success. Bass were doing very well out of us. They were getting big every month. Their orders were big, and they were pleased with that. But we wasn't making any money. I didn't realise at the start. I thought, well, that will just sort of start to roll in, because the place was packed. It was a success, but I wasn't counting for the dishonesty that was going to be.
The irregularity.
The irregularities, that's right. every time I would go up on a Monday morning to bank the money in Bethnal Green, Barclays, it was always depressingly short.
Right.
It never added up.
Oh,
You know, and we had the guy that comes to check your stock thing, you know, and he said, you know, it's not adding up, and we couldn't kind of figure it, and you know, we shouldn't really have been in a pub at all. We didn't know how to run a pub. You know, I wanted to do it for Jason's security,
Yeah.
and it kind of well, and he didn't know how to, you know, the finer points of it. So we was always going to get took, I guess, if the wrong people came along.
Tell me about this defining moment when you found yourself on your knees in the pub.
Yeah, well,
How did you get to that point?
Well, we'd been in the pub all together, I think, for about 20 months. This was getting towards the end when I realised that the pub was actually ruining us. It was taking everything we had financially. I started to borrow more off the mortgage to support you know, the running of it, because we run out of all the ready cash that I'd started with, and it was becoming very depressing to know what it was doing to us, like financially and emotionally, and just generally, you know, we were all kind of getting very down. And I would come every Monday morning to clear up after the weekend's revelries, and it was always you know, you'd go in there and the carpet was soaked with beer and ash, and the smell of vomit and everything was around, and you know, and that was going on, and that was all right while you thought everything was okay. But when you know it was cleaning you out as well, you know, it became very difficult then to get yourself motivated to want to, you know. And I just went in this morning, and I just couldn't handle it anymore. I just dropped to my knees, and I just screamed out. I said, help me. You know, I said, I can't do this anymore. You know, I just knew like it was taking everything we had, and it was just destroying our family. It was causing problems between myself and Jason's mum, and myself and Jason, and all the three of us. And I knew that you know, it had to end, but we was having a problem getting rid of it. Bass was trying to do their best for us, because we was always honest with them, and so they was trying to do their best to ease us out of it, but we needed somebody to buy it. Well, the thing is, when just going on about when I dropped to my knees and that, after a little while I was down there for quite a while, and then after a little while I sort of got myself together and thought, well, you know, you've got to clean it up, so get on with it, and I did that, and I started to feel a bit calmer and stronger, and so I got through the day and did the lines as I do, and always did them like I wanted them to be exact. That's my nature. Like I want them to be the cleanest lines in London. Yeah. So that's me, and so I did that, and then took the usual short cash to the bank, and you know, and that was it. So got through the day, driving home up the Holloway Road at 7:30 at night, going home. I was sort of reflecting back on that day, and all of a sudden I felt very calm. Which is, I wouldn't normally have been through a day like that, you know, having gone home and thinking, oh, got to go again, you know. But I suddenly felt very calm, and I realised that a sort of a change had come over me. You know, I think when I was on my knees, I think I got his attention. I think he listened, and I think that's, you know, where something changed in me. I sort of made a decision then, as I was going home, that I'm not going to do this anymore. You know, I need to change something, and I did. I decided to. Well, I decided that I wasn't going to be that person anymore. I wanted to give something, do something that worthwhile, if you like. Yeah. You know, and strange thoughts are going through my head. Go to Africa. You can do something like that. You know, you know. But they were just. That was the mood I'd got myself in this calm sort of mood. And with a positive feel about it, that I was actually going to start to change and make a difference, because this couldn't go on. And so,
And then you came away from there.
I came away from there, and we managed to sell it in the end for 20,000 actually, which was nothing because we owed all of that, you know, to the Barclays Bank, to Bass, to advertising. So we come out with virtually nothing. So we'd lost everything, and it did mean that we was going to have to sell our home, and Anne and I would be separated. You know, we'd already discussed that at one time.
This is Jason's mum.
Yeah. It had that much effect on everything, you see. So it took so much from us that you know, I borrowed so much on the mortgage to keep it afloat, which was all a mistake, obviously. But so
it's easy to look at these things in hindsight.
oh yeah.